All right, well, as you can see, we're out here in this garden. It is very hot out here. It's about 90 something. Um, yeah, there's just a couple of maintenance things that I need to get done here. Yet again, we had crazy weather come through. Last couple of days, it's just been storming away. So I'm going to go ahead and get to work on some things. I'm going to grab a basket just in case there's some things I find to harvest. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of walk you through a little bit and what I got going on. Some things that I did get is some of this liquid concentrate fertilizer, which I haven't tried this before. What I'll do is I'll take just veggie scraps and then boil them down into like a tea and just pour that into the beds. But I'm going to try this time. And then I just have a little ounce cup so that I can measure out the concentrate into my, I'm going to use a, a watering can. I'm going to use a watering can. So another thing that I got was some more of these flat laying soaker hoses. The flat laying ones I like because they're easy to store if you need them to get out of your way. I like the flat ones over the round ones because they're a little bit more harder to store. But these ones are a 2-pack of the 25 feet. They're shorter than the other ones I have, but that's kind of the idea. That's one thing that I did get, which I'm going to go ahead and set this up. One is going to go in this bed over here, and then one is going to go into the cucumber bed because this summer is just too hot to not have some kind of help. So I'm going to set that up, and then we're also going to go ahead and get some of this liquid concentrate into the areas, and yeah, let's get started. As you can see, this bed and a lot of the beds have just been ridiculously overgrown from the grass. Let me go grab my basket. So as you can see in this bed, this is where the beans are. These are the beans in here. They look really bad right now, but they are starting to regrow, which is kind of interesting. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just throw some more seed down here. So I don't know, these beans are regrowing, so I don't think I'm gonna pull them. I'm gonna leave them alone. I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna go ahead and put my basket down here, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with this celery because it's kind of annoying. It's kind of in my face. I don't think I need to cut it. I just rip it. This celery is out of control. I'm just gonna break away any pieces that I think are gonna be good. I went ahead and I finished taking as much of the celery as I thought would be enough because I didn't want to take all the small stuff, and then I took this inside later to wash it really well and cut it up, and I'll be sharing that in a later video. I can hardly hold it. This is kind of the amount that I got this time. It's a big amount. As you can see, the bush has really shrunken down. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put this inside. As you can see here, this is all of the beans, and the beans look really sad right now, but they are growing back, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and just pull up these onions over here on this side because this one's definitely a bit more floppy and that one is more floppy. I've got to say, for these being the first onions I grew, I was pretty impressed with them. I got 2. The rest are too small. Look at that. It's starting to turn red. I'm just going to go ahead and pick that. Let's see if there's any more in here. If you can't tell by now, I am feeling quite lost being in this garden right now. It was feeling very overwhelming because of how much weeds had grown in, and because the weather was so aggressive that the plants started to lay over. And if you look at this sunflower here in the corner, you can see that it's actually slouching because it fell over like 3 times because of how high the winds were and how aggressive the rain was. So that was something that was interesting to me. These weeds were definitely making me feel so overwhelmed looking in here, and I was dreading the idea of pulling them all out, but I just started pulling them because I knew that that was the only thing that was going to start bringing me peace in this garden and kind of give me a mental break. So I just sat here for a while, for a long while on this day, although it was hot, and picked out all of these weeds because I was just so fed up with not being at peace in the garden. That's kind of my favorite place. I like to be in the garden because it brings me peace. So if it's not bringing me peace and I feel just the chaos in there, then that's something that immediately kind of I want to tackle it so that when I come back, I just don't feel so overwhelmed. As I got further along pulling up these weeds, I just started to feel so much relief as I did it, because it just started to look a little bit cleaner. It started to look a little bit clearer. You were able to see the plants. And then I took a moment to put some stakes up on these peppers so they would stand upright, because they were slouching here because of how the rain was too heavy and because how harsh the wind was. And I did have a post up on this sunflower, so that's what was helping it stand up. I had to be really careful here pulling up this grass weed because the weeds of the grass are really aggressive and stuck in the ground, but I had a ton of little baby onions in this area, so I wanted to make sure I didn't pull those up. So I don't know how much better this looks for you, but I went ahead and I weeded this whole bed. It was a lot, but it's a lot cleaner now. I put a post up on each one of these peppers just to hold it upright because they did start to lay down because of how much rain we were having. And then this is all the peas. You can hardly see from there, I'm sure, that all of the original leaves that were on here just perished. They're gone. But there is a ton of new growth on them. So I think I'm going to leave them alone as they are and just see what happens, because a ton of them just threw out a ton of new leaves. I'm going to go ahead and just run one of these soaker hoses through here, and I'm going to end it on that corner because I'm going to cut up just a cheap hose and put some fittings on it to run it from the extender. So I'm going to go ahead and just run this through here. I had planned on giving these drip irrigation a little bit more of a permanent hose situation to hook up small hoses from the splitter to the drip irrigation, and I bought some hose fittings for that I'll be installing at a later time. I didn't get to that on this day, but at least now the drip irrigation is all in place, so that'll be an easy setup later. Okay. And then I'm going to end it here in this corner, up over here. So I'm going to connect the hose over there. Alright, that's done. So what's next? I got the soaker hose in there. I'm going to go ahead and water this. I have yet to put these corns here in the ground, unfortunately, but it is so hot. I am already ready to call it quits, but finish this bed. That's what I wanted to get done here. I'm going to go ahead and set up the other soaker hose in the cucumber bed. As you can see in this cucumber bed, there is these zinnia flowers that did come up, but I did plant a lot more seeds in here and there wasn't that many that came up. So on this day, I did go ahead and put more zinnia seeds in this bed, and those have already sprouted. So I went ahead and I plugged in the hose to the drip irrigation just to see how it'll work, and also to give this a nice little water. See, as you can see inside of these beans, although they're like sticks, there's some new growth happening, which I wasn't expecting. So I'm just gonna leave the beans there, and we're gonna get them some liquid fertilizer, and hopefully they'll come back. Here's all of our peppers. Look at, they're coming in. Lots of little peppers. If you remember in an earlier video, I did talk about these peppers. These are actually sweet mini bell peppers, so they're snacking peppers. They're supposed to be red when they're ready, but I do pick them early because I find that when things fully ripen in this garden, the pests kind of get to it first. But I would like to try these more red. I was picking them green for a minute, and yeah. So I will try them red, but they're delicious green also. And then this is just everything else growing. There's onions, watermelon plants, and then the beans and celery. Like I was saying earlier about planting some zinnia seeds, I did take some time today to go ahead and throw some more seeds in the ground. These here are my seeds that I was interested in growing. I just was trying to find a place for them. Some of these are perennials, so I don't want to put the perennials here in the back because I don't want them to come back every year. But a couple of the ones I did want to plant some of was some more of the zinnias, some of these busy bees. I wanted to plant some of the mammoth sunflowers, but it was kind of hard to find a place for them, so I did end up putting some outside of the bed, and we'll see how those grow. And then additionally, the thing that was on my mind was to plant some of the nasturtiums and the azalea, or alyssum, I guess actually is what they're called, alyssum. So I took the alyssum, and because they're a ground cover and they don't get very big, I just sprinkled them around this bed just to kind of see what they were like, because I've never grown them before. And then on the edge of this bed, I went ahead and I put some of the nasturtium on the edge of it, so that it will just kind of grow and grow over the edge of this bed here. So we'll see how those grow in. that was all that I ended up doing on this day. I did come back the next day to do the liquid fertilizer, because this day was just so hot and I had to call it quits at this point after I had finished putting the seeds in the ground because I was just so tired. So I made sure everything got a good water with these soaker hoses, and then I was done for this day, and I came back and I used the watering can to go ahead and use a liquid fertilizer to fertilize around. I did end up making a mistake with the liquid fertilizer because it has two different instructions on it. It has an indoor instructions for plants and an outdoor instructions for plants, and I accidentally measured for indoor plants, not outdoor plants, but that's okay. I'll just come back in the near future to do it again properly, which on this day I had just went ahead and fertilized like they were indoor plants, and I left it alone as it was, and I was done. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you would consider subscribing and liking, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!